Welcome back to another episode of the Day After podcast.
Hi there. My name is Ryan Wayne. You might know me from Darman. You might know me from my brief appearance on Dan Aykroyd's Unbelievable, where I played a sick dying boy. You might know me from some student films. You might know me from Oppenheimer, but you mistaken me for Dane DeHaan. Or most likely you know me from this channel. If you plan to be on Survivor and you want to improve your acting skills, hit me up. Because apparently, even though Survivor is very anti-actor, they're bringing, oh, acting skills, acting. Oh, I had to really bring my acting skills for this. Oh yeah, I had to bring my real good acting skills. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I had to do my acting, you know. And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, Survivor. Oh, you can mention acting, but you don't want actors on there. Okay. Uh, and
Uh,
then yeah, just had to do that little thing for the cold open. But yes,
yeah.
this episode was a fun one. I think it had a lot of great moments in it.
Uh,
Uh yeah, what about you?
yeah. I definitely like before even the episode started, I kind of predicted Drew to be going home here. It just felt like if Reba's turning on each other, he's the most likely person in that
Yeah.
situation to get taken out, especially because it seems like Dee is just in control of the alliance and she's not going to take out Austin or Julie.
No.
So that means Drew's the fourth wheel in her eyes.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw that coming. But besides that, I mean, yeah, it was a pretty good episode. I'd say I'd give it like a B plus.
Yeah. Uh where to start? I mean, like they come back and like Julie I love how like, it's Judy and Austin. They're on the beach at night, kind of like talking about everything and whatnot. Julia's like, Reba 4. And Drew in his confessional's like,
Yeah.
get the hell off of me.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? This
Yeah.
is why.
Yeah. Through this episode, he just thought he had so much control of this game, and thought he knew exactly what was about to happen. Um, especially, I mean, after the media challenge, like they gave him so much, like clearly this guy's going home
Yeah.
confessionals of him just being super cocky, thinking that it's like impossible that he can go home. And when he started talking like that, it's like, okay, well, you're really letting us know, Survivor.
Yeah. It's like we know the editing stuff at this point, but also like I think maybe the producers are also like, oh, so they kind of making fun of them a little bit. Like
uh,
it's like, oh, they're feeling very, it's like, oh, haha, you thought you were safe. Let's see how safe you actually were. There you go, Drew. How does it feel?
yeah,
Uh,
because he's been cocky on the season, but the editing has, at least for the most part, been showing him to be right about his cockiness. But
yeah,
this was the episode that it just felt like they were going so hard into it that like I just knew like, okay, no, that's not, it's not going to go well for him.
nah. I mean, the Reba thing is, it's like when when Julie played her idol, it's like at that point, like there's no repairing that. Essentially, like, you have Katurah, you have Jake, and they're kind of like the swings, basically, on like, oh, which direction do they want to go? And Jake
Mhm.
has been very, very, he's been hankering to make a big move.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
like,
I just don't understand how he thought this was a move, was taking out Drew. Probably the least likely one of the Reba Four to win the game, and truly, Jake should have wanted to be sitting next to Katurah and Drew at the final three.
yeah.
Like if he wanted any chance to play an underdog cards, that's what he needed to do in order to have a chance.
I think maybe his perception was, and I think that's the thing, perception is reality,
uh,
was that, oh, because Julie got votes last time and Emily went, Drew and Austin still have the quote unquote power because everyone dogpiled onto Julie. And so like we're just gonna dogpile onto Julie again. So like in that frame, it's like, oh, that's what's gonna be the plan again, is to go
Mhm.
after the same target again. But so like in his brain, and also of like, like, oh, let's take out Drew and flip it. So in his head, he was flipping it.
Uh-huh.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, so like I don't I see why he thought that.
Yeah, well, I will say flipping it doesn't always mean that you're getting the power into your sides. You can flip it all sorts of ways, and if it's not a right, if you're taking out someone who you need to be with later in the game, then that's not you're just kind of screwing yourself. And yeah, and
Yeah.
especially he tried to tell Katura, don't tell D, don't tell D about this thing, because it needs to be our move. What do we get immediately? Katora telling D.
Well, it's like here's the thing. Jake hasn't told anything about his idol.
Yeah.
And then it's also like, and I loved how like because Jake was even aware when he was like thinking, "Oh, we need to split the votes and then maybe one of them jump ships." He even said, he was like, I'm pretty sure I know that I tried this little maneuver last time and it didn't work,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna try it again this time.
Yeah.
Uh, where Austin flips. It was like it's all about, oh, if Austin flips, and it's like, well, he may not. Like that's his number
Yeah.
one out there. But no, I feel like Jake just wants to try. I'm not going to fault him for wanting to play the game. And I mean,
Yeah.
he did go out to try and find an idol and successfully did so in his underwear, where he was like,
Yeah.
uh, you know, and he mentioned that in college he acted. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. He
so
teaches theater to kids, so
yes, yes, yes.
he has been one of the people who has been trying to showcase his acting skills throughout the
He
season.
was he was allowed that he got written consent from Viacom, CBS, be like, okay, you can mention it, but you're still a lawyer.
Yeah.
Uh,
Remember, you passed the bar. That's what we really want you to talk about.
yes. But he found it, and I think the raft is. I feel like in Survivor because like I don't think they just magically production was like magically, hey, let's make a secret compartment while they're off doing a challenge into this boat. I wonder if it's something where that's kind of been there this whole time,
uh,
and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, you wouldn't think to open up the bamboo to look for a thing.
yeah, yeah, because that would be weird for them to have done that in like the middle of the night, like creating this compartment in the raft, just to put it in there. It definitely had to be there. I wonder if the idol was in there already, or if the compartment was made, but then they waited to put the idol in until later.
I could see it either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, but hell, if you find idol just by opening a raft, I feel like if you find the compartment in there, I'm like, they kind of deserve something. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
What if, like they're out there and somehow it like comes off and then the idol goes down to the bottom of the ocean?
well, I mean, they had the chute that came off, and then they had the little cork for it. So
Yeah.
they kind of they prepared for it. I think except unless it sank. And I'm pretty sure, production would be like, okay, one of the idols sank in the ocean. All right, can we get someone from the props department to make a new one real quick?
Uh-huh.
Cool. Sweet. Printer. All right, we got the parchment. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I know that they have at least 3 idols that are made, and they always take them even if people get voted out nowadays. So they probably
Yeah,
don't even need to ask the processor. They'll just take one of the other idols and be like, "Here you go."
because Bruce left with an idol, so
Yeah.
they still have access.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, this definitely, in my opinion, felt like them saying D is winning this game.
Yeah.
I just felt like they really wanted us to know that D is the one who's controlling this game.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
that, like they made the decision truly based off of if D is telling Austin about the plan or not. Like they gave it the cliffhanger. Like they wanted us to really be invested into what D did.
well, because like that's the thing. It's like it, I think this is one of the great like little moments of this whole thing is and why I like this like D Austin storyline within
Mhm.
this. Not just because I root for love, but also like, oh, now they're kind of like not each other's number ones. And like, oh, they're like turning on each other. Austin played a loyal game, but will D return the favor when it's, trying to get out, a player so she can have the power and stuff. And it's like, will she do it? Because like part of it is like, will that have real world ramifications? Like, do they actually get together after this because they went against each other? I I would like to think that they both understand it's a game. Like it
Mhm.
would definitely suck in the moment because like,
Yeah.
that's something that runs deeper than just like an alliance. It's someone where it's like, okay, I really want to be with this person. And then like betraying them for $1 million. Like on paper it sounds bad. But like, I feel like they both understand it's a game. And so hopefully, like, like in the game, it might suck.
Yeah.
Awesome, but will definitely feel like he's playing, his back is against the wall, especially because D is really good at challenges. Julie, she can hold her own in some endurance comps as well. So it's like, he does have competition. It's not like he's a challenge beast. He's guaranteed to like win it out, or that's his
Yeah.
strength. So yeah.
Yeah. D has more challenge wins than Austin. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
even that regards, he can't really e- even if he wins the next two, it's not going to be like a big enough like immunity or like challenge win over D to like get people to give him the win. So
Has
um
to take out D and Julie. I feel like that's the
yeah.
thing he has to do.
Yeah, pretty much. I
I,
think that's his only route is if he's sitting there now with Jake and Katora. Like he's now in the situation of what Drew kind of I think wanted and should have been looking for of
yeah,
sitting with Jake and Katora because
yeah,
I think Julie beats him. I think at least the perception of people out there is that everyone loves Mama J and people are like totally willing to give her the money because of her family and how sweet she is
yeah,
and I think that she's now just a huge threat, especially after the idol play. I mean, now she also has the resume factor of making a big play. So
yeah,
even the strategist can be like, well, I can feel comfortable giving her the win there.
yeah. So it's a so like, I feel like very compelling argument. I would say right now I feel it's D, then Austin, mostly because like I'm still rooting for
Yeah.
him, then Mama J, then I'll put Katura, and then I'll put Jake. I feel like
Yeah.
only reason well, one of the things with like Jake is like he's Charlie Brown so much through this, where it's
Yeah.
like where Katura has more of like a neutral kind of like game stance, where Jake he's had a lot of L's on his resume.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like Katora to me right now has been getting the fifth place edit right now. Because if you look at all the fifth place or most of the fifth place people in the new era, they're kind of not super seen like it like they maybe have like just a few things going on early in the game and then they suddenly get like a huge amount of screen time later into the season to make them feel like they might be a threat and then at final five they're going to have this whole like oh this person you played such a great game Katora you really proved to everyone back home that you were great and they're going to give her a whole thing and I feel like that's going to be her going there and then but if that happens then I just don't know what happens with Austin because I think he's doomed to either a second or third place.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Nia reminds you Carla in
uh
43, where she
yeah.
was a big social threat and she was taken out at 5. So I have
Mm.
to amend what you said there
Uh,
a little bit. Also, actually, I have to amend a little bit of what you said because also Ricard from
yeah, well, I
41.
would say Ricard though. Early on, Shan was the person that we actually cared about and got more of the screen time, whereas he was kind
Yeah,
of playing back a little bit. Like we knew he was doing stuff, but Ricard wasn't actually like he wasn't as upfront in terms of the screen time as what Shan was. Like the Shan was the one who was actually like, okay, this person could potentially win. And then
yeah,
after
but
Shan came out, then Ricard's like edit picked up.
I mean, like in the sense of like resume as well. I guess like that's another thing to like factor in as well as
Yeah,
resume versus
yeah,
edit.
yeah. I'm looking purely edits, and I'm not even looking at like the gameplay moves themselves. I'm looking just like what Survivor is showing us, and in at least that situation, and I guess Carla was a little different in the way of she kind of was important early on, but like her tribe never went to tribal really, like except for that one time pre-merge. And then when
Yeah.
it happened to the merge, she also kind of disappeared a little bit. Like it became more of the Jesse show until later on. So there's even some of that kind of happening in her edit as well. But we know that she was playing a good game because we look at like what was happening. But if you actually look at the edits of what Survivor was trying to tell us, she was getting a classic fifth place edits.
Uh, okay. I don't know. I feel like we said, keeping Couture, it would behoove people because like, do you keep Austin at 5 if he doesn't win?
Yeah.
Because it just wouldn't make sense. If he doesn't win immunity, you take him out. Or if D doesn't win immunity,
Mhm,
she's obviously the big threat. I feel like you have those two. One of them will be vulnerable, neither of which will have an idol that we know of.
mhm.
And it's like, I just don't see. I can see maybe Katura going out at fire, but I just don't see that fifth spot
Yeah.
being taken up by, you know, I can maybe see Julie, but I feel like you're going after one of the big heavy hitters. You're either going after Austin or
See,
you're going after D.
that is what you would think if I think you weren't when you're not on the island. I think the fact that D managed to take out Drakir and now she is sitting at final five with Austin and Julie, two people who have said that they will not vote her out. I think Austin's going to be a little salty, but I think he is going to not want to blow up on her because first off, love, and also I think that he'll think that's going to tank his game because if he blows up, then maybe D will make the shot at him. So he can't even blow up against her because that would just give him in the fifth place finish.
Well,
Whereas
I
if he,
wouldn't say there's a difference between blowing up and being like, okay, you made a move against me.
yeah,
I'm sorry. And then pull like a little Jon Snow
yeah, I just
thing where it's
I
like,
I think he's just not doing that. I think he's played this game very loyal, and like
yeah.
that's been his like whole thing is trying to play a loyal game.
But I
And
mean, at the preview, even they were talking. It was Julie and I think it was Katura talking about taking out D at that moment.
yeah,
Now,
but
like I know that's next time on Survivor to get up the hype and whatever, but it does beg to reason where it's like, hey, you know, it is something where we do gotta kind of consider like all our options.
yeah, yeah.
But we'll see, we'll see.
As I said, I think that's the right decision. I just don't think that that's going to happen with this group of people based off of the game that is currently going down. Is it just seems very much like D has put herself into a situation where uh she can't go out unless they dogpile votes on the Jake and he plays his idol and votes her out. Like I think that's the only way that D goes home here.
I mean, it is also a possibility because yeah,
Yeah.
Jake did find an idol,
Yeah.
and there's no reason for him to not to play it. And
Yeah.
you know, there is another thing because they are going to a new island. Sometimes they do throw in a little clue or something
Yeah.
somewhere, or to a new idol to be played at 5, or a
Yeah.
nullifier, or
Or an
something of the
advantage
sort.
in the challenge, stuff like that.
Yeah, they definitely do the advantage in the challenge for like that first little part of it.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, it's definitely something where because they're going to a new beach, it opens up new possibilities. However, you know, at this point, I consider Jake a lock for Final Four.
Yeah, yeah,
I
definitely.
think could he go out at fire? Like obviously anyone could go out at
Mhm.
fire. It really just depends
Yeah,
on who they go up against and who's better prepared. And, sometimes luck plays a factor into that too.
yeah.
Uh
Yeah, I think and I'm gonna go back to trying to play like if I'm in D's shoes here. I mean, if you take out Katora, you're now sitting at Final Four with Austin and Julie, two people who are going to take you to the end if they win immunity. Um, Along with her, who if she wins immunity. So then the only person who maybe sends her into fire is Jake. And I think there's a chance that you can convince Jake to take D. Like I think Jake could just get. I think he's a little gullible. I think he can definitely fall for some kind of lie about whatever D wants to mix up. And so I'm just like looking at like this final five pathway, and I just see it's so there's like an 85% chance that D makes it to the end. Not maybe even 90%. I just think there's
I think
like
75. It's still a 3 out of 4 odds that she makes it to the end. But I'm gonna be like, there are some things where, they could wake up and be like, I feel like yes. And then also like the idol or whatever little
Mhm.
advantages come in there. Like I think it's like not guaranteed. I know edit is there, but if we looked at the edit, Emily, we all thought Emily was getting that winner edit and then eliminated. It's like one of those things where I don't know, and it's not the first time, and we'll go into confessional count in a little bit, but it's happened like 3 times where the person with most confessionals from that season up until that point went home.
Yeah.
Like they Nedard Stark 3 different people.
Yeah, I will say she does not have the most confessionals. There's actually two people who have more confessionals than her, but her confessionals are way more substantial than the
Yeah.
other two people who are ahead.
All right. So I guess we can transition to that a little bit. What is the uh confessional count?
Okay, so I'll start with Drew because he got eliminated here. He ends with 65 confessionals. So he actually ends with more confessionals than Emily, um, which is interesting, how that worked out. Um, and then
So 4 times now.
yeah. uh and then Austin and Katura are actually tied for first place in confessionals with 57 confessionals.
Okay.
Then we get D, who has 52 confessionals. And then Jake with 46 confessionals, and then Julie with 42.
All right. Yeah. When you put it that way, I mean, they keep going after the people with most confessionals, so who knows? You may be right,
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. They take out Katura at 5. Austin loses fire.
I don't think
yeah.
I don't think it's that straight cut.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I was just making the joke of
But no.
taking out
Uh,
the.
but I don't know. I feel like going into this 5, I do think, like I said, I think D has the best shot of winning. I
uh,
think Austin second place because he does have that underdog thing if he does make it to the end where, oh, in my own alliance. And I feel like he can craft a story. He can make a joke about he has that like social element. It's like, getting that amulet, I made sure to get rid of J Maya. I made sure to get rid of
uh,
Kelly and all
yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And I used the granted, like I would be like because he did misplay the amulet uh this
Yeah.
episode. But
Yeah, and that's why I think Austin's lost a lot of a chance is that I think D cucked him a little bit in this episode. I feel like she really kind of just like took out his kneecaps and kind of said, "Okay, your value on the jury compare with everyone on the jury is a lot less now, and I'm going to just kind of bring you along as as just someone who now lost a lot of the credibility of who's actually in charge of the alliance."
I think he has more. I don't agree with you that D has a lot of power.
Mhm.
But I will say that I don't know. I still think there's a lot of fight left in Austin to make
Yeah.
it to the end.
Now I'm saying I think D's winning this game. Clearly that's the case, and I wish that I was wrong because I will say I feel like she would be in a way like a dominant winner, but I think she would also be a boring winner, almost in a Tommy Sheehan fashion of we think someone needs to do something against him and it just never ends up happening and he just kind of gets to the end and is like, well, I just was the one who is actually in control of all the stuff. And then they're like, okay. And then they kind of just gave him the win. I feel like right now, D is in that situation where if she gets the end, that's going to be kind of the outcome that we get is her
Yeah,
just being able to say that. And so I wish I want that to happen. It just seems like we're in another situation with this cast where they're not going to be doing that. It just feels like they're not able to flip the table on the season.
maybe. I always say that, but like Show is usually
Yeah.
right, except for the one time he isn't.
I was wrong about Emily, okay? I'll admit
Yes.
that.
Let me have my one little victory.
Yeah.
Uh, but uh, I'm excited to see this finale. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And like, you never know, there could be like, I mean, if you look at Heidi last season, was kind of under the radar for most of it, had like some misplays here and there, and she did was able with her end game and breaking like a Survivor record, which was already like very short lived for Gabler there, but like
Yeah.
like she was at least able to garner one vote as a result, where it's like yeah, I don't want to be flat out like, oh, count anyone out because I don't know, like to be like, oh, in my head, this person's gonna win. Even if that is the case, I'm like, no, I want to have like a little bit of like plausible deniability that someone else will be, or a little hope, just in the
Uh,
sense of like, ooh, it's not what we're expecting. I mean, as
yeah.
long as the story is told good, even if the ending is predictable,
Yeah.
it can be fun. We can enjoy it. But, sometimes we like a little shake up. And I feel like
Sometimes
this
we want a Gabler win.
not that, but like kind of like this season, we've had a lot of different like surprises, yeah, eliminations and
Uh-huh.
surprise things where it's like, oh, they like the Matt theory.
Yep.
They totally were like, oh yeah, that's not a factor in this season.
Yeah.
Or like two quits and them happening in so completely bizarre way, or like them hyping up Brandon so much in the preseason and then he just underperformed so badly. And then, like the Shot in the Dark, the first ever successfully played Shot in the Dark.
Mhm.
I feel like this one had a lot of surprises within the narrative. Granted, it is the players themselves that are like doing these things. Or like, like, or taking out Emily, where a
Uh-huh.
lot of people from the beginning were like, okay, like she could potentially win this because of that winner quote. And then, oh, she became very likable and being the last of the Lulu losers, there's a lot of things going for her, and then she's taken out. It's like, yeah, it's like even if like the ending, because like with 43, we didn't expect Gabler to win,
Yeah.
but he did.
Yeah. Yeah, but even though we didn't expect it, like it's there in the edits. Like if you go back and rewatch that season, like
Yeah,
he has a lot of winner confessionals, a lot of winner quotes. Just like there's a lot of like they were really trying to tell us Gabler's winning this season. We just see Gabler and we're like, there's no way he wins the game. Like just off of perception, we're just like that can't happen.
yeah.
um but yeah, I'm not sure. It just feels like there's just so much evidence right now for D. Like 99.99% sure for me that D is winning this game at this point.
All right.
I wouldn't have said that with Emily, by the way. I would have said I think Emily's winning the game. It seems like that, but I wouldn't like. I would bet money. Like if someone said I'm going to bet $20 on anyone but D to win this game, I will take that bet and say I will bet $20 to that D wins the game.
We all know my luck, so I'm not going to join
Yeah.
you in that. But
Yeah. You want to take that? I mean, we can do it.
no, no, no. Yeah. All right. What else to go over? Oh, they had an actual reward that wasn't in the sanctuary.
Yeah, that was nice, and it was the helicopter. They brought back the helicopter in what feels
Exactly.
like forever.
Well, I mean, because all of the rewards in 41 have been at the sanctuary. And
Yeah.
it's like, so I'm like, oh, okay, they had some. Granted, I know they have like a helicopter on standby because how do you think they get those aerial shots? But
Uh-huh.
it's like, I mean, like, for all intents and purposes, it's very easy in the sense of like, it was a nice picnic with some cool, pretty nice charcuterie on a beach in a little island.
Yeah.
And then, like, oh, all you need to do is give them a helicopter ride over there. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't like they were breaking the bank for that one, but it was a nice, like, thing where it's like, oh, they get a beautiful sight, they have a nice picnic.
Yeah.
Uh, Very romantic for. I
Yeah.
love how Couture, she was like, oh, yeah, I'm a third wheel.
Third wheel.
I still get food. I still
Yeah.
get to ride in a helicopter. That's okay. But
Yeah. Austin and D were just not even trying to hide. They're
yeah,
holding hands in the helicopter. Like it's just yeah, make it very clear to everyone.
I mean, I think
About
at
that.
that point, pretty much everyone knew.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, they are definitely kind of like a later relationship. Like it's not
yeah,
something that's been there the entire time. It's something that it seems like it's kind of blossomed with like a few days prior to that. So it's something that could still have been hidden if they wanted to, but it seems like they just don't even care about trying.
yeah, because it's like it's the end.
Yeah.
They already know. Like the thing is, like they already know Reba Four was kind of strong already,
Yeah.
and I think you
Yeah,
know,
they think they have the numbers, so it doesn't matter.
yeah,
But yeah, I thought it was interesting to see this reward happen here because I know the community has been complaining about the sanctuary happening so many times where good things happen is not a good thing, Jeff. People are always upset about that. And so for at least something, it's I thought it was so interesting that like everyone was complaining about it last week, and then suddenly this episode actually did change it. And it's Survivor didn't know that people would be complaining about it last week. It just ended up happening in
yeah.
terms of the season. So
Well, I mean, like I think that was just been a common complaint with New Era was
yeah,
the sanctuary.
yeah,
Though I will say I still can't get over the chicken they just plopped on the table. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm surprised they have the boards and stuff. They had a blanket for them on the little sand pit
yeah.
where they just put the cheese and the meat and all of that into the sand. It's like, all right, yeah, it's a sandwich.
uh,
Sandwiches. Where
yeah,
good things.
gross. Yeah, so yeah, I thought that was fun. I was glad to kind of see that. Yeah, I liked the challenge also, the barrel and having to kind of like
That was
do
cool.
yeah, I
No
like
one ate
that.
shit though, which I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I will
it's
say
sand,
it's yeah, but
so it's
I
not
think it's
bad.
easy. I actually think it's not that I think it looks harder like in the terms of the barrel, but I think because you have these, it's a lot easier. Like
Well, I mean, yeah.
you just kind of gotta slowly into the barrel, like I don't no one's gonna be like going like fucking barrel person who just like going all the way
Barrel
down.
roller.
Yeah. No one's gonna be like a Bob Crowley. Like Bob Crowley, he would have just like gone for it, I bet.
On his hands.
Yeah. um so yeah, but I did enjoy it. I was like, okay, this is a new challenge that I appreciate them trying to do some new stuff here. Um yeah, I was watching this with a lot of friends too, and like they're all really smart, like with like slide puzzles and everything. And so it was so funny seeing how them watching everyone doing the slide puzzle, and they were like, "You were right there. You just needed to move one thing." And I was like, yeah, it's when you're out there with no food, you don't see these things.
Also, it's like you gotta. That's one of the things you have to prep. Zeke even said, like, oh, you can do it on your phone. There are
Yep.
several apps.
Yeah.
There are several little like games where you can do the little slide puzzles on your phone for practice. Don't have to 3D print something for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Slide puzzle is definitely one of the puzzles you 100% need to know about
I feel
before
like
going
that's
out there.
probably, is it the easiest one you can practice?
I think so. I learned how to do slide puzzles on my phone. So
Because you can do it on your phone. When it comes
yeah.
to like the puzzles, the two-sided puzzles, that's a little trickier to do.
Yeah.
Fire, depending on fire, obviously you need to be more like safe. If you have a fire pit at home, that's one thing. Or,
Yeah.
you go to like the beach, or like you are able to do it in a safe environment. Like I live out in LA. There are not too many places. I would have to go to a beach where fire pits are in order to do that.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
so I can't just casually just be, out on my patio, just gonna make fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I live in the woods, so I just need to clear off a little area
Yeah,
and I could just do it. So
yeah. Um, let's see. But yeah, but good on him for finally doing it, completing it.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, that was interesting. And then I was curious of him taking Katora. Obviously I knew Drew was going to get left behind. Like he was making the whole speech about like he needs someone to like stay behind to make sure everything's going
Yeah,
okay. And so when he was doing that, I was like, okay, Drew's not going to go. But then I thought he was going to take Julie. I thought this was going to be like his way to
yeah,
kind of bring her back in, and make sure that the person most likely to go rogue after the whole situation is with him and D.
I think
And
maybe also trying to separate Katura and Jake because they are the two last people from the Bellow tribe. So
yeah,
like, to kind of like make sure they don't talk. And I will say there's a little bit of irony in what Drew said. It was like, oh yeah, Julie and uh Jake, they're totally not gonna work each other. These are like the two people that would never work together.
yeah,
And then lo and behold, because you
yeah,
spoke it into existence by saying it wouldn't happen, it would.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you just I think Austin should have just kept the two Bellow members who sure they're gonna work together, but if you make it clear that it's still Reba 4, then they can work together all they want. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Like so I thought it was an interesting choice with Katora. But yeah.
yeah.
And then let's and then there was the immunity challenge with the second I saw this I knew Julie was not going to do good because she has some hip problems, so this is not a good challenge for if you don't have a great hip.
Yeah, it's standing on one leg. You can't
Yeah,
switch during it. I mean,
yeah,
if you're able to switch during it and keep your ball, elevated, not fall off, I'd be like, screw it. Like you get immunity right there for trying.
yeah, exactly. Just in the air being able to do that, that'd be wild.
I mean, like, if I was like in there about to be eliminated, if I went to travel accounts without immunity, but that was impressive. Good on you, Jeff. I'm out. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but yet again, D's big toe coming into play.
it has some practical uses, I believe.
Yeah, her
I'm
two
glad they didn't
immunity
make a
wins.
big deal out of it.
Yeah, not like the first time when she won and she really gave it to the big toe. This one, I think she did win because of her big toe, but that she didn't talk about afterwards.
Like, I don't know. Like for that one, it's like because like when you're doing the pole challenge, you definitely need like surface area around the thing to like loop around. I don't know. I'm not looking at their feet, so I don't know what feet size they each have.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean that big toe just gives you balance. And she was like not moving the ball at all.
no, yeah, I mean, yeah, she was very, very steady during that. But I do like that it was down to Austin and D. Just,
Yep.
you know,
Yep. Yeah. I was wondering if Austin was just gonna step down for her, but no, he did play it out.
no, I think that's insulting.
uh I
It's like,
mean, maybe, but I think if you get immunity, you're like, heck yeah, I'll just take it.
yeah. Another thing about Austin, we did get to see a little bit of his backstory, how he used to be like this. And it was partially due to like him, like, yeah, I never thought I would get a girl like D in my life.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
like
he got his backstory.
yeah, we saw his glow up as well,
Uh-huh.
where he had braces, he had zits, he was, he was a little thick back then, but then he was like, no, now I have muscles, now I have long hair, and I'm, you know, yeah. Even though he does have those insecurities, like, he's a lot more confident. He has a lot more, you know, he's happy with who he is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was the last person who Survivor hasn't given a backstory to in the final six. Drew and Julie actually had their backstories in secret scenes, which
Really?
guess what? That means that they were not winning the game. So
Yeah.
that
So yeah, that I guess. Sorry, Julie.
yeah, yeah, we know immediately because if they were a winner, they 100% are showing that stuff in
Yeah,
that
that's
edit.
like
So
I feel that's rather important, especially it's like if one of these things is not like the other, then it's
yeah.
like, well, uh,
Yeah.
like Julie has been fun and she's brought a lot of entertainment to it. It is like interesting seeing how like the mom of it has been like the huge target and then, was able to be like, nah, fam, I'm not going home. Oh, wait, yeah, we're actually going to get rid of Drew in the next episode. Like, it is definitely playing out a bit more in her favor,
Yeah.
but like, because of that one little thing, I think if we're talking about edit, that's
Yeah.
kind of like an important thing to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah,
Uh,
every winner has had a backstory in the new era of Survivor. Like they get some little tiny, even if it's not much, like they're trying to say like, look at this person, this person's important. Look at their family history, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, well, like I think Julie is actually one of the best people if she makes it to the final tribal. But based off of edit, I know she's not winning. So
yeah,
Um, I honestly I think Julie, if I had to put like where I think the final five is going to end up going, I think Tora will be fifth. I think Julie's going to be out of fire making because I think she's um just the most likely to get put in there, and I don't know if she's going to beat maybe like an Austin or a D if they get put against her. And then I think it's going to be Jake at three. I think he's going to be the zero vote finalist. And then I
yeah.
think Austin is going to get second, maybe getting like Drew's vote, maybe Emily's. And then I think D's winning. That's how I'm envisioning the game going, which is like standard. I feel like that's a
Yeah.
pretty simple like, but that's just it's how it seems like it's unfolding right
I'm gonna say just because I want to be different. And we already talked about this. I think, and also I want to win this season.
now.
Uh, I'm gonna say D, then I'm gonna say Julie, then Jake, then Katura. Or like I can even see Austin getting all the votes if it's Jake and Katura at the end. So Austin winning.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, well, I will at least give you applaud you for at least this is a plausible Austin win. When you did the final seven, you had Austin winning over Emily in the end, and I messaged you and kind of gave you like, what are you talking
shit.
about? Yeah, at least this one is like if that happens, yeah, Austin definitely wins that final three.
Yeah. Um, uh, And then, okay, last but not least, LVP, MVP obviously goes to D. Just
Yep,
like,
yep,
you know, how can you not?
yeah.
Like, no one else really shined as well as she did. It's like a no contest thing.
Yeah, yeah. She kind of put the game into her decision moving
Yeah.
forward. So yeah.
And
Um
then LVP,
Um, I mean, I could see it going to either Austin or Drew personally. Like, I kind
Yeah.
of like they're both kind of in the similar boat here. Of I think they were both really confident, especially Drew. I'll give it to Drew. I know he went home, but like he
Yeah.
really thought it was not happening.
And then Austin at least won a reward, got to
Yeah,
spend it with his boo.
yeah,
Um, and actually got one where it's not in the sanctuary. So I think that's
yeah.
like double points there.
Yeah, and like Austin, in the previous episodes, told D and thought that that D would give it back to him later on if it happened, and it didn't. So, um, yeah, I've been watching. Yeah, I've been watching this with friends, and they hate D. They like despise D
Like, here's
because
the thing. My inner romantic would have liked to see Dee return the favor,
uh
but I understand why she didn't.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's
Well,
one of those things where,
they hated D last episode when she told Julie about the thing, and I tried to tell them like that's good for her actually, but
yeah,
they didn't like it, like because they're so new to Survivor, like it's almost like they're watching it with season one brains, like
yeah,
how you would imagine someone who has never really seen the show, so they're seeing it more like and they don't care about the strategy as much as they care about like being a good person.
yeah. Um, that makes sense. I mean, still, I think this was, for all intents and purposes, like a great season for them to start off on too.
Yeah,
Even though, yeah, the quits and whatnot, it's one of those things that brings it down like a little,
yeah,
but like because they were so early on and they were kind of like unique to the
yeah.
situations.
They were actually entertaining episodes. Like you can hate that
Exactly.
they quit, but they were entertaining episodes.
Yeah. So like, I feel like this was, I think out of so far, I still think that this is probably the best of New School,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the
definitely.
40 or the 40s so far.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't really like I didn't want to show my friends Survivor in the first four of the new era because I just didn't. I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is what we're getting. Maybe there's some good stuff to be found, but like it felt like it was few and far between compared to this season.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, 45 has been, an enjoyable season. I'm excited to see it all, play out. I am going to a Bryson Wen finale, so I'll be doing my best to make a vlog while I'm there.
Yep.
Yeah, so who knows who I may run into. I might have a few friends that I might meet there. Yeah, so yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully I'll get that out to you as soon as I can. And yeah.
That's nice. Well, that should be fun. And then yeah, we're almost done with the season, Ryan. We're coming in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what been our seventh season review, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
It
Um,
is. Man. Yeah, we're approaching that 5 year mark after 46, 47 will be our 5 year mark of this channel.
um, yep, yep. It's been great. And we
Yeah.
got some huge brand steals to come right after this too. We've
We're almost to 100.
yep,
This
yep,
and we've got some stuff we've already had in store. We have like, brace yourselves because there's going to be some cool stuff coming out.
yeah. I believe like this next season is already laid out. Like we already
Pretty
know
much. Yeah.
everything that's about to happen. So it's
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we'll keep you entertained while Survivor will be there, in between season break. And yeah, and we do know that our brand steals are, the most popular thing on our channels.
Mhm.
But, like because we're doing these like season reviews and stuff, it gives you time to like hunger for it, want
Uh-huh.
it more and
Yeah,
stuff. So
go
there's a
yeah,
little.
go watch back all of our previous brand steals too if you need some refreshers.
Exactly. Put it on while you're wrapping presents or doing some house cleaning, or, if you're working out, if you're, I don't know, whatever you're doing, if you're grinding for a video game,
Mhm.
um, you know, when you're at a family function and the conversation is kind of lame, and so you just want to listen to something else and just not along
Yeah.
and everything going around.
Exactly. Yeah, put us on in the background where we'll take it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that does it for this episode. I guess we will see you in the next one.
Peace.